everyone. Thank you, and I'm glad everybody is stretched and energized from the happy break. Thank you. My name is Rosannette Rimando-Chareunsap. I get affectionately called Dr. Rosie, which I like because it sounds like I should have a talk show, which can be fun. And as I shared earlier, I serve as the Chancellor for the Seattle Colleges. The Seattle Colleges is a group of community colleges in Washington State in the city of Seattle. It's the second largest higher education system in our state, the largest community college system. And for those not familiar with the American higher education system, community colleges are essentially, it's two-year colleges. It's where students can go and do their freshman and sophomore years of community college before going on to a university. It's also where we do a lot of trades, training, apprenticeships, two-year training, specialized training, a lot of nursing training. So we really serve students. It's also where new immigrants come for English language learning. Those who have left high school or who haven't graduated from high school can come and get a high school diploma or equivalency. So it's really, a lot of folks call them, it's community colleges as democracy's colleges. It's the place where, unlike the roots of the higher education systems, which were developed for elites and for men, it's really developed so that the masses really can come and seek higher education to help them become effective members of their societies, of their communities. And so I'm very passionate about the work that I do in community colleges. I've worked primarily with students through my career, and so that has been really the passion that drives me throughout this time. So my global pitch today for you all to consider is I am focused on developing up a pipeline for other P9 college presidents. So this is something that I think is, in the US, as you can imagine, it is primarily white. This is just a photo this was actually a photo taken from an announcement about all the new college presidents in the system, and I didn't even have to show you the whole photo. I just can zoom in on a little piece of it. This is across the US, and you can see what it typically looks like there on the left-hand side. But there is some wonderful research out there about the leadership pipeline and the experience of college and university presidents in the US. And so just to help you understand the context of the impact I hope to have, I'll share a few of these factoids with you. And I have the second one I have to provide a correction on. But college CEOs in the US, in the 2023 survey result that just came out, they found that women, and this is probably no surprise to you, it's probably similar in other industries, particularly around leadership, women presidents aspire to the presidency. They actually first consider the possibility of becoming presidents much later than men do. And you can imagine and already know all the reasons why that might be the case. So they're aspiring for it much later in their career than men. What does that mean for us? It means that women candidates will typically have spent less time preparing mentally, educationally, professionally for those roles by deciding that later in their career, potentially. Also, in the second bullet really refers to Asian Americans in general. Asian Americans, as a representative group, as a part of college university presidents, only in 2006, comprised 1% of all college and university CEOs in the US. And though it had nearly doubled over those 17 years, in 2023, on the most recent survey, we've only jumped to 2.7%. And that's not just Filipino women, that's not even just Filipinos in general, that's all Asian Americans that are serving in those roles. And so it's an area for the many cultural stereotypes and other reasons that you all probably can name easily. It's a place of great misrepresentation, underrepresentation at that level of leadership. And I'll show you in the next slide what that means because of who our students are and why that's a problem. 61% of all college CEOs are men, and 72% are whites. In a multicultural country like ours. 28%, and I pulled out a couple of data points that I thought were really relevant to me. 28% have 2 kids at home, still have 2 kids in the house, and 13% are caring for an aging parent. And so those numbers are not in the majority. I already shared with you this morning those aspects of my life, and so I don't have a lot of other models around me of what that actually looks like, much like probably many of you in your careers in leadership. 55% plan to step down in the next 5 years. So it's a leadership space that is aging out, and where younger generations, I'm Generation X, where Gen X folks have not necessarily been developed in the pipeline to join. So it is something that is shifting quickly, but also defines a great opportunity, I think. So it's very it's inadequately representative of who our students are, and it is also something where we might have a big chance to make some advancements. So just some brief facts about college students in the US. It was actually really hard to find data about Filipino Americans, specifically student enrollment in the US. So I could find much more easily data about Asian American student enrollment. So 7% of students in community colleges are 7% Asian students in general. So you can imagine Filipinos are a smaller part of that. However, in a place like Washington, where I am, Filipinos, or actually nationwide, Filipinos, I believe, were the second or third largest Asian American population in the US. And so what does this tell us? It tells us that our young people are very underrepresented in higher education, meaning they are not pursuing higher education at the rates that really reflect the size of the population. I thought I got earlier warnings. I'll go faster. The challenge is lack of representation. No. The challenge I'm trying to address really is lack of representation. Filipino women in higher education do not see themselves in these roles, and I did change this after just listening merely to your justification for why we use femtor instead of mentor.
Oh, okay.
Is it going to be femopause instead of menopause?
Yes, yes.
So okay.
Femstration.
Focus. Lack of mentors and supports. There is, without young professionals do not know who to reach out to even in their career. And so this is, when representation happens though, when I've shown up in different spaces, these are some of the things that I've heard from people. A couple of quotes here. Very recently, a woman came up to me and said, because I was a candidate for this chancellor role, and so my biography was being shared in various spaces, she said, I was actually thinking about leaving higher education until I saw your biography. She's in an advisor role now at one of the colleges. Another one, I talk a lot about being a mom with young kids at home. I spoke at a conference. Thank you for talking about being a mom in your speech. We never hear about how moms become leaders. And then this last one, they made this comment to me in 2020 about something I made in 2012. Someone sent me your maternity leave spreadsheet. I made this embarrassingly intricate spreadsheet to plan out, I know, the alarm. I used it to plan my own leave, and that was something I created in 2012. So the plan I propose is to use some of the networks I'm already a part of. Filipino Women's Network is now a fabulous one, but also I'm on the board for 2 higher education Asian Pacific Islander boards in community colleges and in higher education. Use these existing networks to set up a sub-network of Filipino American presidents, starting with the 4 that we know of, with the idea of developing up conference presentations and panel talks to bring to different higher ed conferences to hopefully reach more Filipino women earlier in their careers. There are 4 other than me that I know of Pinay College presidents in the US, and one of them I hired recently, that's the third, Dr. Rachel Solemn-Sauce, so she's one of the presidents in our system, but Dr. Rosannette Hernandez in California, Dr. Ashton Jimenez in Utah Valley University, and then Dr. Lori Adrian retired in 2020, but was the first, and for many years, the only Filipino president in higher education in the US. So that is I have accountabilities here, partners I mentioned, results framework to be developed with these folks, but really I want to build a new network that starts to replicate some of the positive impact that we see here with FWN and others. So I'm sorry the alarm went off so many times. Thank you. of Filipino leaders to getting together with others at conferences and things like that.
So what's your ask?
My ask for you all is networking. I don't have a financial ask because I'm able to tap into other systems, and the outcomes we want to achieve are stuff that we'd already be doing. We already go to these conferences. We need to build that. So I hope that my list isn't complete and that there are other women that we should know about. I'm starting in the US because that's my geographic realm of impact, but would love to replicate this out further. And if you know women who work in higher education, tell me about them. I want to reach out to them. I want them to know that we exist, that we're here, and that we are all women who want to give others a hand up in these roles and help them see themselves in it.
Yeah.
Rosie.
Yes.
Dr. Astrid is already at FWN, that's what Maria said.
Yeah,
One of the four.
she's in the yellow
Oh,
book.
Astrid's already in?
Astrid,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, God.
And she's in the yellow book,
Okay.
or the first book.
What year was she?
Presidents in the Philippines?
I would consider presidents in the Philippines, mainly to build more, because this is a twofold project where we find the supports that we need to sustain in the jobs, in addition to the mentoring and role modeling part, and I think that would be a great benefit to us as well, to connect with Filipino women presidents in other areas.
I have two for you.
Okay, thank you.
Yay!